a little cowboy hat fascinator because I think I would get a lot more use out of that. Just like a little tiny
like
little cowboy hat.
Like a little hated it.
Yes.
A little hated it.
That's a little hated it. I know that's right. That would be super cute.
Right.
I want one.
Oh, bitch, I plan on wearing the hat all day, every day.
Ooh, I want me a little.
Just a little bit. Just a little.
Just put in the curls.
This ain't Texas.
Hey, community. Here's what's brewing today.
It's Beyonce's Act 2.
Ooh, and we're reviewing Cowboy Carter.
So, get your cups ready for Minority Report.
Yeah! Hey, welcome to Minority Report. It's Cowboy Carell.
It's Cowboy Dewan.
And it's Cowboy Tape, bitches. What it do?
Hey, yeehaw, bitches.
Hey,
you already knew when she announced this Act 2 what we was going to do. Come on, bars. You knew we was going to have us a reaction and just a review of this monumental moment in Beyonce's career, which it seems every album is a monumental moment. I don't know how she keeps on gagging us, choking us, stepping on our necks, making our edges look crazy because her edges are always phenomenal and impeccable. Like, it's just too much for me.
It's the gagging with consent for me, okay? Like, I'm still like,
yes.
Can I more Ovaltine,
a little
please?
More. a little more, please, babe. Babe, please. Like, it's insanity. But before that, how are you two doing today?
Good. I'm ready to get in this tea, though.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So community, I don't know where you've been the last few days. If you haven't listened to the album, spoiler alert, we talking about it. So if you need a little more time, get you a couple more days and then come on back over here and watch the full episode from top to beginning, beginning to end. Listen from beginning to end, download and tell a friend. So here we go. Cowboy Carter. And before we even get into Cowboy Carter, actually, there's some statistic stuff just about this black history of country music and just black artists in country music that, like, even though I knew it was limited, just looking at the data points, oh my God. So it says of more than 2,100 artists played on country stations from 2002 to 2020. So not even the last 4 years. Only 1.5 were black compared with about 98% who were white, according to a report from Song Data Representation in Country Music. Other artists of color include those identified as Hispanic, Indigenous, Biracial, or Filipino, made up 1% of artists played. Beyond just radio, black artists and artists of color represented less than 4% of country songs played on the radio. And so I was like, okay, just knowing my data background, that's what I do all day, every day. I'm like, okay, I need some more data points just to kind of prove this. From 2002 to 2007, BIPOC artists are nearly absent from the country format radio in the first 6 years of the study. An average of just 0.5 of the songs played were BIPOC artists. And those songs averaged 0.3%. So 0.3, not even a half of a percent of airplay. From 2008 to 2013, representation increased marginally to an average of 1.5% of songs played, and they received an average of 2 to 2.5% of airplay across the period. Then from 2014 to 2020, representation increased again in the final 6 years of the period and averaged about 3.7% of songs played and 4.8% of annual play. However, here's another big caveat of why Beyonce is doing what she's doing. Even though the data shows an increase across the period in terms of songs played and the airplay for those, this increase was exclusively for songs of BIPOC men. Mm-hmm. So even though the black folks were starting to get more play, it was largely against men. And then another part of this shows out of the men, 96% of the increase were only 3 black men.
Three of them. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it's fucking mind-boggling what Black and BIPOC communities are up against in this particular genre of music that was stolen.
Yeah.
And it takes someone on the caliber and the skill level and the coin level and the recognition level and all the other levels to start knocking and helping knock these doors down. Because it's not like people are out here trying and having bops of songs out there. Mm-hmm. But it takes someone to care and be like, you know what? No, this ain't it. And if y'all trying it against me, I know y'all trying it against everyone else. So that's kind of like the history behind some of this album and why it's so important in this time frame.
And I appreciate the artists, the Black artists in country who have been doing such a good job of coming together and being like the whole narrative of jumping genres and you're not welcome. I love that the Black country artists have been like, I'm glad that someone like a Beyonce has come over here and now people are being like, hey, there are Black folks over here because we've been doing this for 10, 15, 20 plus years. Like a Darius Rucker, who's been out there for decades, who also has what genres were Hootie and the Blowfish, right? Like you have people out there like Kane Brown who in the last 5 years who have been really thriving in country music. However, again, country radio has been downplaying his music. Yep. You have, what's her name, Mickey Guyton, who during the pandemic, during the George Floyd murder, came up with that song with Black Like Me, performed it at the Grammys, was the first Black woman to be nominated at the Grammys for Country Album of the Year, and then literally have the country music radio tell her, oh no, we don't play her music, like being shunned out. And I appreciate that Beyonce has also been like sending them their flowers, like a Tanner Adele, who has been, really trying to come up in country the last couple of years, who's also on the album as well, too. Mm-hmm. And just being like, hey, sis, like, I just want y'all to know that I see you. And although I'm here, too, and people might be talking about me, this is about us at the end of the day. So that's icon static. And can't nobody argue about the change and the movement that this album is bringing to an area that doesn't get the recognition as far as Black folks in that genre. So
Beyonce said, reclaiming our genre, reclaiming our genre, reclaiming our genre. And, there's something to be said about intentionality, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if we know anything about how she operates and what she's able to do with her voice, her position, and her power, is that she can be much more intentional about what messages she wants to send out there and how she wants to leverage her platform and leveraging it on her terms. And I also think about the importance of her own heritage, because it's one thing if you had somebody who's, let's say, is, not from Texas, doesn't have Southern roots, doesn't have country roots, who hasn't been criticized for their country twang and their voice ever since they've been in the music industry.
That's the thing.
And well, hold on. And then, and to leverage all of that intrinsic heritage that she owns. Period. So no one can ever come to her and claim some kind of appropriation. Well, first of all, these genres started in our community first. But if you want to get really, really specific for, Beyonce, Giselle Knowles Carter, who was born, in past the cowboy, cowgirl era, is still part of that community, hailing from Texas. And so she lives in this world. She exists in this world. This is part of her identity. And to see her tipping her toes and into this particular area and creating the space and the shine and the opportunity for advancement of, Black and brown people to reclaim this genre and to have their works and their craft being honored and recognized in the spirit with which it is celebrated through all other genres today, it speaks of the intentionality that's gone into this particular album.
And that's like people, like even just a country twang. Like I remember Destiny's Child, like reading like Right On magazine and shit like that, and they brought up her twang. Every fucking article, every fucking interview, like, and to the point where it's still like the meme that you see of when people like mimic Beyonce, they mimic her country twang and stuff and just her speech pattern. Yeah. So like they have it on this album now, so we'll get to it, where she's like, they talk about how country I was, how much I talked was country, and then now you're saying I ain't country enough? Like, bitch, make up your mind. Is we finished or is we done? like, you know. So it's just, again, like, you hit it right on the nose. It's just like, you can't tell her that she's not country. Are you kidding me? And then literally just to look at the history of our country, bitch, it don't get more country than black folk, bitch. Like, it's shit.
They really don't. And I would suggest to people too, to Carell's earlier data points. There's like this like little 30-minute like Hulu kind of like news segment on Cowboy Carter that talks about some of that history and some of the data points that Carell was just talking about. That's how I knew them, because I literally watched that this morning.
Oh, did you?
So if you got Hulu, if you got Disney Plus, just know it's like a breakdown of Cowboy Carter for like 30 minutes on there. It's cute to watch.
I just wanted to call out that I've learned so much since yesterday, since the album came out, really. One of the things I wanted to bring up was really about the inclusion of the word cowboy in the title, because I had no idea about this, and I was like, again, intentionality. It says the word cowboy itself was used as a derogatory way to describe the former slaves as quote unquote boys, who were the most skilled and had the hardest jobs of handling horses and cattle alike. In destroying the negative connotation, what remains is the strength and the resiliency of these men, who were the true definition of Western fortitude. So again, it goes back to this notion of, you know, Beyonce doesn't do anything if it's not intentional. And we've been hearing, it's funny being on this stage of the album dropping and now seeing all the nuggets, the golden nuggets that have been dropped as a trail of what's to come in terms of, you know, like things that Jay-Z said at the Grammys, the fact that Beyonce is like, this is not a country album, even though, you know, there's, you know, we have a couple of very country-esque songs being kind of the forerunners, and the intentionality of using those songs as the forerunner of this whole album, which doesn't fully encapsulate the experience of the album, which we'll talk about. It's just, again, it speaks to the intentionality of this and the thoughtfulness that went into curating this experience that we can now enjoy and unpack.
And even, because I mean, like, the album's really, like, the play on words, obviously the cowboy part, and even the Carter, because the Carters is a white group that was like what they say were like the pioneers of country music, if you will.
They got them,
even though a lot of their music was written by a black man.
Right.
But, you know, that's a whole nother, and we might even need a second episode to kind of dissect just a lot of the blackness behind this shit. But honestly, if she didn't want to play on words of Cowboy Carter, because that was very intentional, this album was really American Requiem, you know, kind of get into the album. Like, she started the album with that and ended the album, even though it's called Amen, just kind of almost a reprise of American Requiem. And she could have just put out this one song and it would have told everything it needed to tell.
Story.
Like, and so just to open up the album with that particular song was massive. And the sonic scape of that song and the harmonies and the folkiness of it and almost the orchestra of it, I was like, oh my god, this is not even like music anymore. This is just like almost like a score. And a score's music, but I mean, there's like, it's not like just you sit there and let's put this a radio bop. Like, no, this is some shit to sit your ass down and listen here, listen here, and learn some shit, because it was massive.
This album to me felt like Sunday afternoon. You know, like so many times of like me spending, you know, like my summers with my grandma in Huntsville, Alabama, and listening to, you know, music on Sundays, and having it being across a variety of genres, but there was, you know, definitely country essence that's baked into it. It took me back to just like sitting on the porch, you know, with my grandma, with the, you know, like Grand Ole Opry playing in the background, music, you know, going in and out on the radio, and to me, this felt less like a standard album, which is not, and more like almost like a soundtrack, if you will. Like, after listening to it several times, in my mind, I thought, this is going to make an amazing residency in Vegas or wherever. You know, not that I imagine that Beyonce will do a residency, but like, take this album, like Michael Jackson's, you know, The One, or The Love for the Beatles, and put it in there with like Cirque du Soleil and, you know, like all these different kind of elements that brings this. It feels expansive beyond just like what a typical album would be.
Yeah, and to that point, like I was saying, again, she's very intentional. Like, she wanted to make sure that although a lot of the songs are different, but they're similar and they still connect in such a way where it tells a story. Like, I feel like I could listen to this album, close my eyes, and my brain would play a movie. Like, I could exactly hear to it, and I can see a story form just from listening to it. And that's one of the things that excites me about this, because we know that she's a visionary. So the fact that she gave us something with an album, I can't begin to even think about what it's going to look like when she says, now here, this is what it looks like. Bitch, I'm going to be.
Corey was like, what is this going to look like? I was like, I don't even know. I was
no idea.
All I know is I'm about to be goop gagged all over again, and it's going to make me so upset that I need to throw a cowboy boot and a spur at her face because, bitch, why you gagging me this hard? Like, baby, I ain't say to gag me that hard, I said a little bit.
Look, the way I know that, once again, we all gonna have an outfit in mind, and she gonna be like,
no,
we going with this. I just already know.
She said denim on denim on denim on denim.
Look, the drawers better be denim too.
And I guess we could kind of get into starting to get into some of the songs, but like I'm glad y'all brought up just kind of the soundtrackness of it, because I was like, I almost have a complicated already relationship with this album, because I was just like, it is so phenomenal, but I was like, I almost need to be in the mind frame, in the mood to listen to this damn album day to day, because it can get you in your feelings a little bit, and I don't feel like being in my feelings today, you know? And it's just like, again, it's just, it's everything we thought it was going to be, but everything we didn't think it was going to be at the same damn time. And like she said, it's a Beyonce album. It's a fucking Beyonce album. That's the best way to fucking say it. Damn it, Beyonce, you're correct again. Because it's just larger than just the genre, is what she's telling us. She's like, I just want to be able to create what I want to be able to create. And that's what any artist wants to do.
And she's told us for years that we can't put her in a box. That, like, these labels can't define her. Like, we can try all we want to, but we will never come close to being like, this is who Beyonce Giselle knows Carter is. Like, no.
She's like,
you
all
think,
of it.
And then some. I am what you would. She said, I am literally what you would never be.
Honey.
I'm very curious to see the impact that is created from this experiment now turned live, because when you think about how albums are constructed, and you know, the storytelling and the ebbs and flows, and you know, the use of transitions or not transitions, and all of the things that make an album from a traditional lens, she's taken a very different approach with putting like this album together, and it works in such a magical and unexpected kind of way, and it doesn't, for those that, you know, aren't 100% in love with every single song on the album, you're missing the point. And so what I love is, you know, through her storytelling, she's able to share, you know, some very controversial views that are all factual and that are all based on lived experience. And this is a different level of seeing oneself that's different than Renaissance. Like, Renaissance was, you know, celebratory and, you know, like inviting the queer Black POC experience into that intersectionality. But this is intersectionality as well, just in a very different way. And I came away feeling seen and recognized, and like learning some things as well, because, you know, country ain't my jam, but today it is.
It is now.
It is now. Look, she said, all my life I had to yeehaw, bitch.
It's funny. My dad, that's all my dad listened to. So, like, growing up, I'm like, why my dad always just listen to, it was country music and gospel. That's the only thing. To this day, you get in this truck, he's just a Southern Black kid from Southwest Georgia. So, like, it's interesting to feel this, because I felt it through my dad, even though I was like, okay, this ain't my shit. You enjoy it, Dad. Like, that's your,
you love it, I like
it. That's your tease. That's your steez. But, like, just to see him now get into Beyonce now through an album like this is interesting to me, because that was just never his lane. Like, he appreciates music because he was a musician and all that stuff growing up. But now he's like, oh, okay, now this is a lane that I can appreciate, just even the fullness of Beyonce. Yes, I appreciated it before, but That's for y'all young kids.
Yeah.
Now, like, and it's cool to kind of have these conversations because that's all he knew growing up. Again, Beyonce, that's all she kind of knew, part of her culture growing up. My dad said we had, like, literally, he said we had the juke joints and country music. He said, so if it wasn't like Sly and the Family Stone, it was like some country artists. That's all they knew, and gospel. So it's interesting. So let's get in some of these songs here. So, okay, obviously American Requiem, we already said, I mean, that's it wrapped up everything she needed to say. But she said, I'm going to say some more, though.
Yeah.
Blackbird, I mean, it's a cover. And it's a full cover.
Yeah, it's a full cover, which was
and I'm
interesting.
glad, even when I saw the title, I was like, oh, I hope it's the Beatles version. Because people, this is the nerd coming out. I'm like, thank you, Beyonce, the nerd. People didn't realize what this song was about for the last fucking 60 years. Mm-hmm. And I always thought that was so funny to hear white people sing this song. Like, growing up in, the Midwest, the Beatles, that's white people's, that's they shit. And every time I heard this, I'm like, okay, and I remember researching it like in high school, and I'm like, oh my God, this is about the black riots and black women and things like that, and people don't even fucking know. So there's no song more perfect to put on this damn album, and to also get other black female artists on this song than fucking Blackbird.
Black female country artists at top of that. Like, women who are already in the genre already that have been just, when the line says, like, you've been waiting your whole life, I was just like, damn. I was just like, I literally teared up because I'm just like, these black women have been putting in the work and they have been fighting an uphill battle and they have been continuing to be true to who they are and to their passion. And you have to have a level of just confidence and belief in yourself to keep going against those no's and to keep going against the wall and quieting out the haters and everything that tries to come your way to prevent you from having what's meant to be yours. And the fact being that she was like, you know what? They might not give you your flowers. I'm going to give you your flowers right now. And can't nobody ever take these fucking flowers away from you. Ever.
Period. Yeah. It makes me want to boo. It makes me want. The second it came on, I was like, oh, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I just.
That damn Beyonce. Like, damn it. And her team again, because again she can't do it by herself, but she is just masterful of getting the right people around her to do what needs to be done, and they buy into what needs to be done because they know it's greater than just them.
They understand the assignment.
Legacy.
They understand it. Yep. They understand that this is more than just about a job and a paycheck. This is about legacy. This is about history and being a part of that history that will be timeless. Just like Dewan was saying earlier about some of the albums, like some of the other albums that were great, that will forever be great. This is going to go exactly there. Yep. And it also makes me understand
like 9,000 other of her albums. I'm like, damn it, bitch.
Look.
Got me reshuffling these orders. I don't know how I feel still. Like, damn.
I literally attempted that the other day, and I was like, nope, I'm done. I don't have the brain power right now.
But it's kind of funny on that tidbit, though. It was funny before this album came out, what was and it was true, trending on Twitter about how much Beyonce was yelling on B-Day.
Honey.
Oh. And then listen to this album, the small moments that she has on this album, and still out singing all these bitches. I was like, she's so showing them on this album, bitch, I ain't yelling today. And you still got the point, huh?
Look. And first of all, and it's funny because I saw that and I was like, bitch, but don't act like you wasn't yelling during Bring the Alarm.
Oh, honey, I was yelling right along with it.
Look, okay, we were all yelling to Get Me
Body.
Body.
Say, y'all ain't hushing me up no more.
Bitch, look, Get Me Body came done. Look. I ain't want. We were all doing that. We were all yelling to the left. Bitch, we were all yelling on B-Day. Come on, Sugar Mama.
I was like, she sure was yelling that whole damn album.
She had something to say.
She had something to say. Woo.
So I would say this, though. I feel like when the singles came out, 16 Carriages wasn't my favorite. I loved the song. I loved the lyrics of the song. But seeing or hearing Blackbird transition into 16 Carriages, that literally just, it hit different. Like 16 Carriages, now I'm like, damn, bitch, like, can't never catch a break. It just,
it kind of just defines like the struggle that she, like, even though she's Beyonce now. And even though we knew from the get-go that she was going to be Beyonce, doesn't mean she didn't have hardships, tough trials, insecurities, all the weight of the world, especially coming from going into the entertainment industry that young, you know, with these expectations that people already saw on her. Even though you might have these expectations, and yes, you feel like you have the potential to live up to it, doesn't mean you won't have the highs and lows and the battles to fulfill those dreams and those expectations. And so, after Blackbird, and especially knowing what she had to go through, especially in this specific of a genre, baby, you right. That song is different now. And this song still gets stuck in my head, though. Even though it's not my favorite song of hers, somehow it still begins stuck in my head. So I'm like, I must like it enough.
I will say that, and maybe this is a counterpoint.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Oh, I see you now, boo. You back.
Okay. I don't know what happened, but I was still going on my end. No, I will say that I think one of the stark differences between Cowboy Carter and Renaissance to me was the way that I appreciated the album and the storytelling within the album. Renaissance for me was the first of Beyonce's all of her albums that I was just like, yes on every single song from start to finish. And as I got ripped for filth, and I still don't give a damn for shuffling that shit up.
Honey. The internet was like gooped and gagged.
And they will continue to be, because I'm my own person. So but what I'm saying is that that was the first album that I enjoyed every single component of it. And going into this album, this to me was more like how I appreciated other Beyonce albums, because listening to it for the first time, I didn't have that same experience where like every single song, every single component, I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. But it was, again, one of those situations where the more that I continued to listen to it, the more that I was starting to hear like the lyrics and the harmonies and the storytelling and the ebbs and flows of things starting off super slow and kind of like whispery and holy, and then getting into more of like the frustration and anger, and then more into like self-empowerment and reclaiming, and then wrapping it. So like it became more of a obsession the more that I listened to it, which helps me to appreciate the totality of the experience, even though there are songs and several songs that I'm just like, they're okay for me.
Yeah.
But the totality of it is just, it's pretty phenomenal. And then you layer on all the other things we've been talking about. It's well above.
I get that, because I agree. There's certain songs where I'm like, okay, I get the purpose of it. Am I going to listen to it every day? Probably not. Just because it's not where I need to be right now, or I've either grown from that situation, whatever it may be. But the sum is greater than the sum of its parts. Is that what the saying is? You know? So it's like we need this collection of body of work, nonetheless, despite there might not be pieces that might work for you, might work for them, but together, baby, we need this shit, and it's gonna push everything forward, you know. And like even like say
album.
And even say like for Protector and My Rose, the next two songs on here, you can kind of tell like 1 through 5 were for the black girls.
Yes.
You know, specific for the black girls.
Yeah.
And I love that. Like, I mean, even Protector, even though she's talking to like Rumi and Blue and like her kids and things like that, but she's also symbolically talking about everyone that's coming up underneath her in country genre and any honest genre, really, that she'll be her. I got y'all bitches. I'm gonna protect y'all hoes. So do what y'all need to do. Don't worry about what they saying, because I got you.
Yeah.
And that's so dope to see.
It definitely gave that icon, like, when we were saying this like a few months ago about Beyonce, how like you can tell, and I think this was after like when like Tina had passed last year, you know, like she has fully embraced taking the the legend icon baton, and she knows that now her passion and her dreams are the catalyst for so many others to come after her. And the way that she is embracing this and as herself and as her character, but also in her body of work, is something that nobody can deny. And so as much as you be like, hey, I may not like Beyonce, not me, some of the haters out there, you can't deny how she is changing the game and how she is literally opening doors for people to come after her. And she does not take that lightly. And that is
she said, I'm the captain now.
That's how you that's how you know. What's that award? What's that damn Nobel? She needed like Nobel Peace Prize,
Nobel
whatever
Peace Prize.
Yeah, she does. She does.
She need the Kennedy honors. She need them all.
Talking about being a humanitarian, right? And knowing that it's bigger than her, and then to be and to be doing it since 15, like, and we don't know nothing at 15. So the fact that you've been in this level and this area and this spotlight, when your brain is undeveloped, you don't even know who you are as a person, and to still manage to get to this point of getting there, not everybody make it through that. We've seen so many child stars go the opposite direction and burn out, sizzle, and never reach their true potential.
That's word to Celestine.
Baby.
Word to Celestine and her daddy, who colder than Titanic waters.
Girl.
Yeah, that just show, like, you know how we say in the Black culture, they were just raised right. You know, your mama and your daddy raised you right.
Yep.
You know, and that's shout out to them because it takes a village. And so whoever Celestine, Miss Tina, and Matthew Knowles surrounded them with and protected them, even if maybe they didn't quite understand it at the time. And I think that's probably some of the times in these lyrics that comes up with her relationship with her father is, and that she might be still like digesting as she's a parent, is that relationship of he did what he had to do to get them successful, get her successful, and protect her at all costs. You know, and she might not have understood all the decisions then and why he might have been coming off cold or whatever it may be, but it worked to get to what we needed to do. You know, and that's kind of some of the times that even like with our own parents, it's just like, dang, that kind of fucked me up a little bit, but you had to do what you had to do at that point in time because that's all the tools you had, and the goal at the end of the day was to keep us alive. You know, and it's hard to digest some of that time, and it's just they might have chose the wrong thing at times that fucked us up. But let's all take these lessons, learn it, and how do we apply it to move forward to greatness? You know.
I think she also does a really good job of honoring her parents, specifically her father, in her music. Every single album there's reference to the influence that they've had, and while she doesn't necessarily address, you know, their humanity, right, the faults, you know, because we don't hear anything about Miss Tina, but
Miss Tina is perfect. We hear about the daddy,
right, the daddy,
the sins of my father.
But I love that line that she has in her record Daughter, where she says, "If you cross me, I'm like my father," and it's just like,
yes.
We like there's a certain level of, you know, like there's a certain level of respect that she has for, you know, how her father raised her, and like I love that she still brings those components through and then carries forward the legacy by including her children in her work. So I can only imagine the exposure and the life lessons that her children are learning through her eyes because of her intentionality with how she's expressing her blackness and celebrating her womanhood and embracing her culture and pushing the boundaries of what's possible. I can only imagine how that's impacting her family and the legacy beyond her, just within her own family, not to mention the impact that she's having, Jarrell, to your point, around the world relative to like how she's crafting music, how she's introducing it, how she's producing it, how she's storytelling, how she's engaging, what her marketing strategy is, all of these components, and the doors that she'll be opening for Black and brown musicians to have the freedom to express themselves that they didn't have before, because Beyonce's paving the way in this way.
So then, after my rose, we get into Smoke Hour with the one and only Willie Nelson. Again, very strategic choice, because y'all ain't going to say shit about Willie Nelson. Are you kidding me?
You know the white girls
icon,
ain't gonna say...
damn black icon.
They're not gonna say
Snoop's best
shit.
friend. What y'all gonna say? And she knew it.
It's giving very much. It's giving very much. Who gonna check me, boo?
Period. Because he already said, you know my name. No need to know yours.
That part.
So
that took me out.
Sir,
that took me out. I was like, you're right. I was like, you're right.
Come on,
I ain't nobody. I ain't nobody. You're right.
It's your name. It's like, let me go and sit on down. Shit, this ain't Texas. And it was a good break in the album because like it was kind of a slower beginning of the album. You know, very folksy, very Americana, bluegrassy. And then it makes Texas Hold'em hit even harder to me, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that second that come on, you're like, oh, shit, hold on. I'm going to keep, even though I done heard it 50, 11 times, I'm going to let this shit play because this shit feels extra good right now.
It really does because you got five songs on average, 4.5 minutes of music. So you've got 20 minutes on average of slow kind of like, you know, I'm easing you into this experience, and all of a sudden it's just like the curtains roll back, and it's just like you come right into Texas Hold'em, and it's like it does hit like a bag of bricks.
Is that the right first? Even though it was 2 singles, was Texas Hold'em the right taste? Do you think so? Now that you've heard the body of work,
I will say yes, just because I feel like all the other songs would have truly given away what she was trying to do with the album. Like I love a lot of the songs on there, but the moment I would hear them, I'm like, okay,
that would have told.
Like I know my mindset needs to be here instead of here. So to make sure that we weren't, you know, like completely on the nose, she said, I'm gonna give you these 2. Let's go have you look over here and be like, look over there. Real quickly.
I think the interesting question would be, as now that you've had an opportunity to listen to the album and you've heard all of the songs, what other song would you have picked to be the first song to go out versus?
I feel like we need to go through we have to go through the track list first. Yeah, let's go through the track list first before we get to that one. Yeah, because I think I have my answer. I have my answer, but it's further down.
And then the next one's Bodyguard. Bodyguard's a nice little summer bop. I'm telling you, this might be nice little spring summer bop.
That was the first one as I was listening to it for the very first time. Like, and I was capturing notes on like the songs and whatnot. I wrote my first star next to because I was like, I love this. It was the very first song out of all of us. Just like, yes, this is like upbeat and vibey, and it like the lyrics
on the backgrounds
is amazing.
Taylor Swift is on the backgrounds.
No, that's rumored. It has not. That was Wiki that said that, and it was edited. From what I heard, it was edited by a fan. Yes, on that page, so it's not actually Taylor Swift.
We need to find that out though.
Yeah,
because
let's be honest,
I be in the credits, and all the credits are pending still on Tidal and Apple. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't like that.
Yeah. When I did my research, a couple articles said that it looked like some fans had went and edited the page to add Taylor Swift on it. Because let's be honest,
got it.
It
sounds like a Taylor song.
It sounds like a Taylor song, but background vocals, Taylor.
Well, I mean, that's where she needed to be in the background.
I mean, she needs to even further, girl. Even further, outside. Outside. That's what she needs to be. Outside. Yeah.
No. So we don't know. We'll find out. But okay. And then Entertainment Tonight or Entertainment Weekly says no, Taylor Swift does not sing Bodyguard. So okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, it's a bop of a song. It's a bop of a song. It's a feel good ass song. Makes me want to be on the beach somewhere, and I could be your bodyguard.
that was the first song, I agree with Duane, that kind of perked me up. And I was like, okay, that song makes me want to drive with the windows down.
Windows down, right?
Yes, right. Like it
with
just felt really good. And I will say this, because we haven't gotten to the Miley song, but I feel like this gave me very much a Miley song.
Yeah.
When I think of Miley, I was like,
I could see that.
because like that Flowers album that she just came out, like it gave a little bit of that
energy.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree. And then after Bodyguard, so you're feeling good, Miss. You hear the good old voice of Miss Dolly P.
Hey, honeybee.
Miss Dolly P.
You know that floozy you were talking about?
You said that
one that I knew.
Remember that hussy with the good hair?
I had one of my own.
She said it still hurts the same.
She just had auburn hair.
I love the fact, I mean, this chick rolled up on Dolly's man and has been getting smoke for 50 fucking
50+
1 year since that song came out, and it keeps coming.
Someone said Jolene just needs to come to the front. Jolene, come to the front because
where you at, Jolene?
Who you is?
Jolene happy her hair gray now.
Baby. Okay.
It tells Auburn.
Look. And let me tell you, Jolene is my favorite song on the album.
It really?
I'm glad we got here. Jolene is my favorite song of the album.
Okay.
To DeJuan's question, which I know we'll answer later, this would have been the song that I would have loved for her to start with because it truly shows the blending of Beyonce. Like, I felt like this was a natural Beyonce doing something iconic in country, staying true to who Beyonce is. Like, the lyric change, bitch, did everything, but it still had the essence of the original Jolene. When she said, Jolene, your peace depends on the way that you move, I said, ooh.
Damn.
Ooh.
She said, I'm a Creole Banshee bitch from Louisiana.
From Louisiana.
I'm just, like, in my opinion, this, like Jarrell, this is a song for me. Like, I've been a Jolene original stan for the longest time. And, like, just like she did another one of my older icons, Donna Summer, in her last album, the fact that she was able to dive into this particular song and to change the lyrics up to give it a modern take. Like, if this album would have been the first one to drop, it would have, in my opinion, would have far surpassed what's the
Texas Hold'em.
Texas Hold'em, getting the 16 cameras
I almost
mixed up.
differ on it because I think they would have said Beyonce depended on a white lady to get into country music. They would have shifted that narrative, and I think she knew that. She knew how massive this song would be if she would have released it first. Now she doesn't even need to. And now it's going to probably be one of the most popular songs out there nonetheless. So it's going to still do what it needs to do. I think if she would have came out first, it would have been too on the nose.
I get the 2 on the nose for sure. I get the 2 on the nose for sure. I don't see the narrative of relying on a white lady because everybody loves.
Oh, you know, the white people would have said some crazy ass shit.
But everybody loves Dolly Parton. Like, Dolly Parton is one of those people. Like, you don't say nothing negative about Dolly Parton. So the fact
she's
that
the Betty White
was
of
doing
country
a Dolly
music.
Parton song, like it would have. I personally would feel like it actually would have really forced the white people who were already talking shit about Beyonce doing country that came from Texas Hold'em. I feel like this would automatically squash that. Like, bitch, you can't say nothing.
And to be honest, let's be clear.
If you do, you are just racist, period.
To be clear, let's just be honest. It does not matter what song she would have come out with. People are going to always have shit to say.
That's a true statement.
For me, as I look at the full list, honey, the Jolene, babe.
They use all with the tambourine.
I was just like,
I will say the line that did get me off this song, and then I guess we'll leave it because we'll do this. Is there's 1,000 girls in every room that act as desperate as you do. Bitch. That's like if that's if I was Jolene and heard that shit.
We need to do a part 2 of this reaction video that's going to be solely on just the lyrics and what the message is, because throughout this experience there are so many amazing bars that are just riddled with truth and history behind them that it's hard to encapsulate in this forum, but we need to make that happen.
Yeah.
Okay, then we get into Daughter. Daughter is kind of almost like a concept-esque song. Mm-hmm. And it's good. It's good. Like, I don't even know how to describe it, honestly. Yeah.
It's cold as the Titanic water. That's what it is.
Yeah. You're right.
When I heard that bar, I said, damn.
Yeah. You cold. You a cold
Cross me
bitch.
if you want to.
Right.
This is the first.
You heard about my daddy. I told you about my daddy.
Try Me If You Won't Do.
I got it too.
This was also one of the few songs on the album that carried forward the kind of like genre key change, kind of like get multiple kinds of music within one song. Not the first, but like one of the first where you really heard it through and through. And the fact that in the midst of this song, she broke out into opera.
She went to the Italian, the chorum. What's the name of the damn song?
Don't ask me, but
the fact that the gong. But the gong.
The fact that she got into it, it took my whole breath away. It was like, this is the kind of stuff. Like by this time in the record, I was like, okay,
yeah, the Caro Meal Band. That's what
I'm here.
Yeah. And if you look at the lyrics of that particular opera, it's fitting why she did it because it's talking about the same shit that she's talking about in this song. So yeah, no, I mean. She's just stunting on this now. She's like, oh, I'm doing all these genres, and I'm just gonna remind y'all I can do operas still as well. You know, I still got these high notes, even though I'm hitting the shit out these low notes throughout this album. By the way, her lower register now.
She said, "Keep
baby." It's too much for me. It's too much for me. And then after Daughter, we hear the voice of Swiss Beats, and I was like, hold on, is that Swizzy? Like, I heard that Virgo shit. I was like, hold on, that's Swiss. I know his voice. And then I was like, oh, I can tell the cadence of this beat already. Swiss did this. And sure enough, we get Rapping B. Rapping B, just reminding y'all, I still out-rap half y'all hoes.
Look. The amount of people who were like, spaghetti don't fit. And I was like, here's
spaghetti
my
western.
But here's the thing that I like about it, too. Because when you... And this is my thought process too, like placing spaghetti right here in this moment. When you make spaghetti, bitch, you mix it up. When you think about the ingredients, when you're making the meal spaghetti, right, you mix it up. Talk about throwing a song that's not country in the middle of it just to mix that shit up and be like, huh, you thought you knew.
It's a Beyonce album.
It's a Beyonce album. I'm going to mix it up on you.
And this is again that representation of like the ebbs and flows of the album, because there are these sections, like you had the first 5 songs were all slow. Then you had the next 1, 2, 3, 4 songs that were super fast and upbeat. And then after this song, we get into more of like that slower kind of like melodic kind of vibe. So the fact that this crescendoed with Rapping B, like, perfection.
Bang bang. She said, I ain't no shooter, but I got a gang that bang bang.
Bang bang bang, bitch.
Baby, I know that.
I ain't no gang, but I
Talk
bang
that
bang.
Shit, B. I just like talking shit, B.
I do too.
Period.
I do too.
It never gets old to me.
I do too.
Talk that, because if anyone can talk shit, it's Beyonce. So please talk it. Thank you. Over Swiss Beats again from all the B-Day stuff. He was the one that did a lot of the B-Day stuff, so I love seeing that combination again. And then it gets into Alligator Tears, which I love Alligator Tears, actually. I really love how bluegrassy this song is and just how drawl it is.
That's so funny that you say that, because I'm literally looking at my notes that I wrote from all this, and I said, it's okay. Bluegrass vibes.
Bluegrass. It is a very bluegrass vibe. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and again, this is another one where she's just hitting some low ass notes that I'm like, this bitch, her range, and just again, we talk about just how good she's gotten singing. If you listen to old Beyonce to now, which she was incredible then, she's impeccable now, showing that she's still putting in that fucking work that I just enjoy of people that have a talent.
It's the complexity. It's a complexity within her range, because I think this album gets to really showcase that you cannot contain someone who is intentional about their craft and has the freedom to be able to do that. And it's beautiful to be able to see that in action.
Yeah. And then Willie Nelson come back in with Smoke Hour 2. Just to say, hey, he got a recommendation for us, and it's called Just for Fun with Willie Jones. And the next 2 songs, Just for Fun, and then the next one is Two Most Wanted with Miley. We're going to hear this in karaoke bars.
And Levi Jeans. Actually, the next 3. Like, honestly.
Oh, yes, the next 3 for sure.
Levi Jeans,
karaoke bars for the rest of our lives.
Yep. 1,000%.
I see it at the Roundup right now in Dallas.
Yeah.
So out of these 3, let's say, okay, Just for Fun, dope song.
Agreed.
Willie Jones sounds amazing on it. I mean, Beyonce
I had to look him up. I didn't know who Willie Jones was. I had to look him up, and I was like, okay.
Again, don't know much about him.
Come on.
Yeah. Dope song. So yeah, that's what I said karaoke for the next decade. And then I said hit them damn low notes, Beyonce. Another good one. But then Two Most Wanted with Miley. Might be the first true duet she's done with someone since
Gaga
on her album. On her own album, what's a true duet she's done besides like a Jay-Z feature or something like that? Maybe Video Phone remix
with Gaga. Yeah.
With Gaga, and then even then that was kind of that or Luther Vandross and Dangerously in Love.
Luther Vandross, that was it. Yeah.
She just doesn't do like a true duet with people ever.
Yeah. This was another one that I had starred. First, I loved the storytelling around this because it was really about like I'm a ride or die, kind of chick, and it was like living off of that. And this was one of those records where like both singers really had space to shine and showcase their talents in a cohesive kind of way, which you don't really see because usually on some of these it's like you have the star who has the star, and even though it's a duet you have the star, but this one it felt like a true collaboration, and you felt the spirit of both of them through their lyrics, which was really cool.
This is my favorite song on the album. Favorite song on the album.
I will have to say that this song had to grow on me. And that's just because I'm not the biggest Miley fan. Like, her voice for me just doesn't often do it for me.
Sounds like Smokers.
Yeah, like I just don't. I normally don't gravitate towards raspy singers. Yeah, like it's. Okay. I'm not saying that she can't sing. It's just not a tone that I'm just drawn to. But when I started to like replay it, and I started thinking about how they were harmonizing in their vocals, and when B was singing, singing her highest, Miley was singing her lowest, and then they would flip, and like to see that change and it be so effortless, I was like, from an artistry point, the song is phenomenal, beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. Yep. Is it something that I'm going to be like, I'm going to play this song? No, but I respect the hell out of this song though. Still, nonetheless.
Yeah, no, this is the one that the second I heard it, I was like, this is the one. I think this might end up being the most popular song on this album.
More than Jolene?
I believe it. I think
bigger than Jolene. Yes. I think it'll be bigger than Jolene even.
I would 100% agree with that.
Yeah. This is the one that I feel. I don't know. There's just something about it. Then I looked up who wrote it. I was like, of course, Ryan Tedder wrote this damn song. Ryan Tedder writes like all these massive, right?
Okay, come on, Mr. One Republic.
Honey, like every damn song, Mr. Halo himself. But yeah, no, bop of a song, and then leaving that duet to another one. I'm like, damn, 3 in a row, B. Okay. Levi's jeans. Then again, I was like, damn, I like this too. I was like, let me give me some Levi Daisy Dukes and rocking during Pride Month.
I have to say this. Someone on the internet said that this song sounded like Beyonce made Post Malone take a shower before he recorded the song.
You better shower up.
you know they weren't in the same room.
And I could not unsee it. I said, "Oh my God."
You're right.
He
sounded good on it.
He sounded good. I think this song will be another really good song that's going to do well this summer. And 1000%. This is one of those like TikTok reel songs that when you're traveling somewhere, you put behind every fucking like video of you posting, you going on a plane, you by the beach, stuff like this. This is going to be one of those songs from that album for sure.
I agree. And I guess we're a long way from House of Darion jeans. She ain't mentioned no House of Darion jeans. She said, we just back to Levi's now, bitch.
They evolved.
And then Flamenco. Only song on the album that I said, you could have kept this. And I mean it with all my heart. That this song didn't do nothing for me.
Man.
What is it?
Man.
And that's hard to say on a Beyonce song. I was like, damn, I don't want to be this blunt, but hey, I can critique my favorite as well. That song didn't need to be on that.
And not be biased about it. I will say this as well. I agree with you. Like, I wouldn't necessarily say that, like, it could have been off of the album. I feel like maybe this is one of those songs that maybe did not get the time to be thought about. Unfinished, yes, exactly. That's what I think. It had a purpose, but I don't know if they met the purpose in which it was intended for. Because to me, this is the one that I feel like It's the speck of pepper in the sea of salt. It just sticks out so
It sticks
much.
out
Wait,
so
hold
bad.
up. You got to use. You got to use.
Wait, no,
a
you
whole
gotta say
different- no,
speck of salt in the
right,
sea of pepper.
exactly that part, because we can't have that correlation to black
ma'am.
people. No, man, not at all.
This just felt like, regardless, the point is,
This is the raisin.
It stuck
This is the
out.
raisin
Stuck
and
out
the
like a
potato.
sore thumb.
This is the
Not the
raisin and
raisin
the
and
potato
Raisin
salad.
in the potato salad.
That's
You're
what
right.
it is.
You're right. Flamenco is the smoked paprika and the on the tuna or something that don't need to be on there since it's flamenco. But
I do
yeah,
think-
this one I was confused.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
was
think
truly confused.
this also, just for our listeners who, may not be all into Beyonce and know that we are, I think this also shows that, listen, you can be a fan, a stan, and still critique.
Oh, yeah.
And that doesn't mean that you're just eating up everything that a person does, regardless of the quality of it. And it's not to say that this is not, that this is a bad quality song, but for me, it was meh.
It was very meh. So then we get into the Linda Martell show, who again very strategic. The first black country star, first black country woman to be able to play at the Grand Ole Opry, but then they forced her out the music industry, which is upsetting. But she gets the last laugh. She's like, "Look at what I'm doing now, ho!" And then we get into the genre-bending "Ya-Ya," which is almost kind of like School in Life meets like a lot of stuff.
There were 15 songs in this one song right here, because it went from "These Boots Were Made for Walking" by Sinatra, Nancy Sinatra. It went into Beach Boys, "Good Vibrations," and then the end was like a Tina Turner, Nutbush, Tennessee kind of vibe. Like I was listening to it, I was like, this sounds a little bit like Tina to me, and I had to go back and forth between Nutbush, Tennessee, and then this one. I was like, it's the same kind of spirit,
same energy.
This song, I think, is going to be very popular. This is going to be another one of those songs where I think all the girlies are going to love.
The drag queens are going to love this one.
Yes. 1,000%.
Yes.
So there's just so many layers, and there's so many ways that you can play with this song as a drag queen. I also love that, she slid in there at the very end, vote. She's like,
period.
Yes.
I was like,
that's it. Exactly. I know. I was like, thank you, B. Get in there. That part.
I was like, come on now.
Period.
I like this song. I like this song.
Yeah, I like this song too, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, how can you not? It's like all the elements we love of Beyonce in her career and who's influenced her. Then we go into Old Louisiana, which is just Chuck Berry, a sped up version of his song, which, I mean, I think it was kind of almost just like a palate cleanser more than anything, and to pay respect to some history. And then Desert Eagle, another kind of shorter song, Do-si Do, and it's nasty.
Yeah.
I wrote Love the Funk, and then it gave me like a BB King kind of vibe. Like it for sure gave me like that speakeasy kind of, almost like, very bluesy juke joint kind of spirit.
It reminded me of Sly and the Family Stone, or like some Bootsy Collins in there. Just the funkiness of that bass. But then what she's saying, she a whole lot of woman, do-si do, get them soft kisses on some fat lips, and I was like, well, damn.
and which lips are we talking about?
That's what I was thinking too. Because when I said soft kissing on fat lips, I was like, ooh, bitch. Literally what I said.
Nasty. She said, catch me in the back. I'm on the same time. I know
She
that's
said,
right,
eat it.
She said, that Desert Eagle.
And she's told us to do that before too. She done told us to eat it many a time.
So
Not far from the realm of truth.
She said, I'm going to give y'all a nasty song if I want to. And then it gets into Riverdance, which I love the beginning opening of it. And it's almost like, it's almost a house country.
Yes.
It reminds me of Janet All For You era.
Yes.
That's what it reminds me of. Janet All For You era, because she had some songs kind of in this similar aesthetic of a sound that was kind of housey. But I was like, okay, I'm here for a new genre of house country.
Bitch, the way I was duck walking at 12:15 a.m. in the motherfucking living room, I said, my neighbors hate me, baby. Okay? Girl, this one's probably my number 2 song. Riverdance is probably my number 2 song after Jolene.
I had this one earmarked as the drag queen song of the album. Because I literally see this happening across all different kind of bars internationally, just because of the musicality of it and the mixing of the genres.
Yeah, we're gonna hear this one during Pride Month. We're gonna hear all the remixes,
and then everybody's gonna be,
honey. We're gonna hear all Pride Month. Absolutely. So yeah, no, that's a bop. Then Two Hands to Heaven. Another one where she kind of gets a little more back into like the bluesiness of things, and
which I thought was very beautiful.
Was this one?
I thought it was very beautiful.
Yeah.
This one was. Is this? Would you consider this to be like an interlude?
No, no, because it's a 5-minute damn song.
Yeah, it's long.
Yeah.
It just felt.
I love the transition
to me. That's why I'm asking the question. It felt transitional to me.
Yeah, like I feel like the transitions from like Desert Eagle, Riverdance to Two Hands to Heaven was the best transitions of the album, for sure. But interlude, no, I feel like this is like like her making us wind back down the album, saying, okay, I gave you a little kind of maybe more genre bending for the last few songs. Let me kind of bring it back. Right, exactly. Bring it back and wrap this shit up in a few, Yeah. So. But yeah, no, I this was one I will listen to again. It's not my favorite on the album, but when it does play, I keep it on, if that makes sense.
For me, what I like about this song is I feel like it sets up a great tone or a great scene for Tyrant to come next.
Oh, yeah,
like
right on
I
that.
feel like it brings you to a point where you're like, hey, just remember here, this is where we are, and then Tyrant comes on, and you're like. You start bouncing again. You're like, oh, wait.
Right, you're like, damn, B. It's like I thought I was done bouncing on shit.
Right. and then she literally say, bounce on it. Okay?
Bounce on it. I'm like, oh, okay. It's like my thighs and my knee game ain't the best no more, but I'm gonna try, B.
Baby, this song,
Tyrants.
This is a nasty
like
song.
Another one.
This is a nasty song.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, Miss Dolly, Dolly. Okay.
Yeah.
Baby, I'm here
and
for
it's
it.
still kind of, in a weird way, it kind of still, throughout this album and this song too, still tells you the infidelities of Jay-Z still messes with her. Like, that's the kind of weird thing throughout this album. It kind of sneaks in here and there. She tells it a little bit like, like obviously Jolene for sure. But even like if you kind of read these lyrics, it's like, oh, hold on, that situation. And obviously this album was written like the last 5 years. So, I mean, it was a little closer to that time period than it is now.
Yeah.
But that's what I kept thinking after I kind of like kept listening to this and then kind of rereading some of these lyrics. I'm like, oh shit, that shit fucked her up. It fucked her up good. And obviously she's done the work to kind of get out of it. But she's gonna poke at it every once in a while. But like, just to remind you, I'm a bad bitch, and that shit fucked me up. So don't fuck this shit up again, ho. Because I'm burning all this shit down. I'm a tyrant, ho. That's what she wants to say. And then Sweet Honey Bucket comes on, and I was like, this is Pharrell all day. I hear it the second it came on. Which tells you the Louis Vuitton collection was tied to Beyonce all along because he knew this shit was coming.
1,000%.
Perfect planning. That's how you work with your friends, though. That's how you do it. Get all that coin.
This is my number 3 song. This is my number 3 song on the album.
Yeah.
One of the things that I like about this song is, for me, this is one of the songs that really connects Act 2 to Act 1.
Yes.
If you think about Pure Honey,
especially My House.
Yes, and My House, right? You think about the transitions between multiple songs and different genres in that one song. This song does it 3 times. 3 times.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, bitch. It gives you
Bucket come on.
every bitch.
Like
Bucket.
I literally wrote.
Look, bitch.
I literally wrote. I like the second half of the song, starting with Bucket.
But not Bucket. But yeah, no, I agree. I like Honey Buckin' better than Sweet. Sweet is my least favorite of those kind of like vibes of this song.
Yeah.
But once Honey in that kind of like Pharrell and her kind of singing back and forth, and then it goes into Buckin', bitch, you can't tell me nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
Buckin' like a mechanical bull.
Yeah, and
bitch.
Shabuzi.
Yeah.
He did his thing on Honey.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I like him. And I had to do some research on him as well too, and he's coming out with an album soon too. So this is like perfect timing for him too.
Yeah, she's setting everybody up perfectly.
Yeah, she really is.
She's like,
she really is.
Alley-oop, come on now, baby. Yeah. And then after we bucking, she said, "Amen." I said what I needed to say. I said what I said about this American Requiem. And amen. And I was like, amen, bitch. And then at the end, it kind of has like some squiggly. So I'm like, oh, that kind of tells you there's more. That's what that kind of signified to me. I'm like, oh, shit. She reminding us that this is only Act 2. We got a whole nother thing to gag a goop over out the most productive time in humanity for Beyonce, Giselle Knowles Carter. Because I don't know how you just, literally 27, songs interludes. She also did Renaissance. She also did I Feel So Good to Be Alive, or whatever that song from the King Richard during this time frame. She just got done with the Lion King shit. Like, the amount of music this human being and the amount of singing, because it's not like she's just not singing the harmonies and all this shit. Like, all these songs are just so jam-packed. I don't know how she did it.
Yeah. And this is the stuff that we know of, let alone the other genres and scores and songs and arrangements and lyrics and visuals and other
what's left on the kitchen floor,
honey. Because we know she's already done with Act 3. So we can only imagine the amount of things that did not make it into these 2 records. And I was literally just sitting here thinking, like, I still want to digest this for another week, but then after that, I want to listen to her basically Act 1 and Act 2 back to back, because I just want to hear like that progression from those genres, and I will listen to it in chronological order, in album order.
Thank you.
So that I can get the full experience.
Because you'll be going between Act 1 and 2 and be all confused. You literally be do-si-do, okay, bitch?
I would do it for the discipline. And then after that, shuffle.
She gonna go from cozy to bucking to Virgo's Groove.
Look,
Virgo's Groove to Desert Eagle.
America has a problem to Jolene.
Right, honey. Right.
I'm here for it.
That's it.
Look, if y'all know me, there's one thing I can do is I can multitask and go from one project to another project that ain't got shit to do with each other and still appreciate it. So
you're right.
Amen.
Amen.
Oh, I did want to say this. The Two Hands to Heaven song, I'm glad I looked at my notes. At the end, sounded very Jodeci. And you could tell the Dream must have had a hand in that. Like the harmonies and the groove at the end was very R&B, Jodeci. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's slick. So I like the second half of Two Hands to Heaven better than the first part of it, just because of those harmonies at the end. And almost like Bobby Valentino slow down energy and stuff like that. It was slick to me.
I just have to say, like, and I went to bed saying this to Fizz after I listened to the album twice, but I was like, it's wild that we are alive during the Beyonce era.
Like old enough to appreciate it and got the funds to appreciate it.
1,000%. Like, I just know that there will be a period where people will be talking about Beyonce long after we are all here. And I just imagine how they will feel.
Yeah.
So they will have FOMO. They will have like that fear that they from missing out because they came so much after Beyonce. Like I
feel like this must
grateful.
be how Stevie Wonder was, because there was a period where Stevie put out like album after album and they were just classics.
Yeah.
I almost feel like it's that same kind of vibe where we're like, this lady is just putting out classics. It's not just like, I'm just gonna feel like recording today and put out some shit. Like, this shit is stick to your bones, dissecting, let me have a whole college course about it, music.
1,000%.
And I agree to thank you, Lord, for letting me see this. Let me stay
For real.
a lot longer so I can see some more, and the fruition of what we're seeing from this like 30, 40 years from now, so I can enjoy some other little person, some other little black girl that's from jump could be apologetically black in country, apologetically black in pop, whatever genre you want to do. And maybe luckily we won't have genres by then. It's just, let me just create We'll see. We know that should take a long time to get to, but but that's the cool thing. It's just like we don't know the seeds that are being planted right now that we can't foresee until decades away from now. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm really excited about. That, but like, damn, that's what inspired you. Like that album inspired you, and now, baby,
and to be like, I was there when that album happened. I was there when it was released, and then to I am just at a loss for words when I think about. Yeah. And this isn't just me being like, oh my God, I love Beyonce.
No.
This is the appreciation of the work and the effect, the ripple effect that it's going to have. And I think there are some people out there who they listen to music, but they don't hear music. And I think there's a big difference. And if you
tell me, do you hear me?
Right. And if you hear what she's doing, you see the picture that comes with it.
Yes.
And I just love being able to say that I can do that.
We have a whole nother act that's just going
to
take this same mental energy from me.
What they say in...
Right. Stay in the moment, Carell. Stay in the present.
Because ain't no way. When I'm telling you, deceased, the thought of thinking about another act... The way I need to like smoke a whole joint to myself to bring myself back down because a bitch is in orbit because I already know the fact that the whole album is going to have Tina Turner written all over and it's going to be everything. It's going to be everything. So I'm not even ready.
It's going to be Yaya. Maybe she gave us a tease on Yaya. Maybe that's where she headed. I don't know.
This has been an incredible 6 months if you really think about it, from like all the stuff that Beyonce has released within the last 6 months alone. Mm-hmm. Culminating with this particular album, and we don't even know what else is coming out of out of this.
You're right. It was 6 months ago. I was just at the Renaissance tour, bitch. Like I'm just
6 months. She done came out with hair care like Beyonce is not just doing the music thing. There are so many.
That's what I'm saying.
Clearly, the rest of the world. Clearly, the rest of us ain't living. Okay, we ain't living. We ain't doing shit. We ain't bout shit. We ain't got shit. Because the way that the amount of pressure, and she said, with my thumb at that bitch, on the jugular,
kids and a husband,
on the jugular,
and still got to fight for her voice.
Oh Lord, right? So one, I guess top three. We already kind of hinted throughout some of our favorites. So Jarrell, your three.
Jolene, Riverdance, and Sweet Honey Buckin'.
Okay, Dewan, your three.
Jolene is definitely number one for me. I really, 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 really liked Yaya, and I'm gonna say Spaghetti. Yeah.
Okay.
Outside of 16 Carriages and Texas Hold'em, but those are my three. Yeah.
Carell, can you show the camera what your paper says?
It said, let's see here.
Because I'll bet you there's more than three on there.
Well, those are the two for sure.
Okay.
So 2 Most Wanted and Levi's Jeans.
Okay.
Then I struggle because in my mind the album is almost like the bluegrass side of the album and like the stereotypical Beyonce shit that I just love of Beyonce shit, and so that's why I get struggled with the third one. It's gonna be either between Spaghetti or Honey Buckin'. Not the sweet part though. That's the part that I'm like, can I throw that in there because I don't care for the sweet part.
She says she started at 55 seconds into the song.
right, exactly. Exactly. But Tyrant's up there too. Alligator Tears is up there. And I almost feel like, and I never have done this to a Beyonce album, I almost feel like I might make myself a playlist of the songs that I truly, truly want. And it might be like 8 of them that I know I can listen to all day, every day. And then go back to the actual album where I know I just want to sit with the album.
Yeah.
And I've never done that to an album before. But I feel like this one's just so much to take in one sitting that I don't know if I want to do that to myself every time.
Well, and plus, like with a lot of the smaller like interludes between some of the records, they're not all really necessary and germane. And so, if you really just want like the highlight of the songs that you just really love, that's what I think I might do. But I mean, good job, Beyonce. I mean, we knew you were gonna do a good job, but bitch, like, I can't stand you.
one thing I wanted to say as well too, and I forgot to say at the top of the hour. Going back to her artistry and her craft, there are very, very few artists out there that can be authentic to themselves and not fit a box and be able to do all sorts of types of music. Most of the girls out there right now that are getting a lot of the plays, that are getting a lot of the attention, they have a niche and they're in that lane and they stick to that lane. They don't have the ability to really go outside their lanes because when they try it, it tanks. Beyonce says, oh, I'm going to swerve over here. Success, I'm going to swerve over here. Success, like she's out there giving us everything. And I just think that is just something that needs to be credited for because it's a hard thing to do. Like Adele. You don't see Adele stepping outside of her lane.
No. And sometimes I think the more popular you get, the more scared you get because there is that risk of failing and failing hard.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing. Beyonce's like, you know what? If I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail on my own terms at this point. Yes. And she's not failing, but it's just like, I hope it inspires folks and pushes folks to be like, you know what? Let me try something a little different because just I have it in me, but the music industry has put me in this box and think this is the only thing I can do. Branch out. And this made me just think someone that's kind of similar to that is like a Janelle Monáe. And I want a remix of Yaya with Janelle Monáe because it's a very Janelle Monáe-esque
That would be really good. That would be
fire.
Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I hope it pushes someone like a Janelle Monáe that I know she has it in her to just do something completely different every time as well. Or someone like a Normani that's about to put out her first album, don't feel like she has to stay in that whatever this album is. The next album will be like, you know, it is what it is. I could do what I want to do, or whomever it may be. So yeah, and
but to
like
do it correctly,
not everybody has that capability.
Right, but to do it correctly, right? Not just like I'm gonna do it just to do it, but to have a purpose and to be intentional with what you're doing. I think is a very key component to it. Not just putting music out there to be like, oh, I just want to sing this song like this, and here it is. But having a message behind it, I also think makes the world of a difference because it brings an element of respect to someone else's craft who may actually be very fantastic at that one thing, right?
Yeah. So, I'm sure we'll have more to say about this. Obviously, this is hot off the presses of listening to everything, and you know how much we love Beyonce, so it is what it is. I'm sure we got more to say once we digest this even more. But community, let us know your favorites on the album. What did you love? What didn't you love? And what is this going to look like? And then one last thing I saw on Wiki, I don't know if this is true because I haven't got my physical copy. They're saying on the physical copy, there's a demo version of 16 Carriages with all of Destiny's Child.
Wait, on like which one?
Michelle, Latavia, Latoya, and
on
Kelly.
On the vinyl?
Yes. And I just saw that because I was just looking up just to see if the producer notes were up there yet. And I was looking, I was like, oh, the physical copy. I was like, huh? And I'm not seeing this anywhere else on the internet because this would shut the internet down. Yeah. So I'm like, how is this? How is this not out there yet? Like, and I tried to go on YouTube just to see if someone had an early copy of the vinyl. No. So we'll see. So we might have more to talk about after that.
Apparently there are some songs from what I heard that did not make the vinyl. So like Spaghetti, Flamenco, the Linda Martell Show, Yaya, and Oh Louisiana aren't on the vinyl.
Because you know there's just physical limitations.
Like there's only so much space that the vinyl can actually hold. So that actually makes a lot of sense. And I also read somewhere that the amount of time of this Act 2 is the exact amount of time that you can fit on an actual CD. Hence another reason why she did the CD version of it as well too, because the CD version will have everything on it because that can fit
it's like an hour
all
and 10 minutes.
Of the songs on it.
So
now I'm okay that I got both
physical
of them.
limitations. Jen's like, what's that? I was like, bitch, y'all just don't remember. Like, they had to make some hard decisions because there's only so much music space on this shit.
Look, and now my technical nerd ass now being like, storages only have a certain amount of space that you can store your data on. So you might want to look to a more unlimited storage space like the cloud or something
like the cloud at Amazon. Oh Lord. Well, community, stay safe out there. And just a reminder, we have our live episode coming on April 14th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So come and kick it with your aunties for that.
Fun. Yes.
As we celebrate 5 years. And all people are like, 5 years already? I know. Craziness. Yeah, and new merch is out there, by the way. So check out the merch, minorityareport.com. Check us out on the DNR app, all that good stuff. And send your Ask Your Aunties to the AYA at minorityareport.com or DM us or the T line, which is 1-844-832-5463. We want to hear your voice with these questions, and we'll put it on an episode. So,
and let us know what y'all think about the album, too. Like, put in the comments, too, on all the posts. Like, we really want to hear what you got to say. Some of you probably don't want to hear what you got to say, but, still post it anyways.
And come on, Bugaboo Rail. That's what I'm just going to call the girl from
Bugaboo Rail. You're
Bugaboo
right.
Rail. That's how
Bugaboo
Beyonce.
Rail.
Bugaboo
I love
Rail.
that. That's going to stick. Bugaboo Rail.
All right, community. Wash your hands, your legs, and your ass, and we'll see you next week. Bye.